Spiderman Lejos de Casa llega en nada y estoy muy ansioso porque los tengo a ellos, a los protagonistas delante mío. Thanks, Jake, Tom, for this time. Congrats on the movie. Tom, what was your first impressions after reading the script of the second part?
This film's definitely much more ambitious than the first one, and that was kind of what stood out to me most. And the emotional journey that Peter Parker goes on throughout this film is a much heavier one than the first one. So I was really excited to sort of dive into that. And what I love about these movies is there's kind of this stigma in our industry that if you do a superhero movie, you kind of lose the craft of being an actor. It's all about just action and stuff. And what I think Jon Watts does so well is he allows us to sort of give our best performance and bring these characters to light in the most independent way possible, while having this backdrop of these massive kind of action sequences. So it's always fun to kind of juggle the world of Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and as always, I was just super excited to dive back into that world.
Jake, is it true that you were about to play Spider-Man?
About to. I mean, I have definitely throughout my career, because it's been a little while now, have been approached or talked to or had discussions about playing different characters, you know, many different times. And I auditioned for, when I was younger, auditioned for Spider-Man, auditioned for Batman.
For Batman?
Yeah, so, I guess it's somewhat true, but yeah.
If you could go back, if you look at any movie ever in the history of movies and you could play any role that you haven't played, any movie, what would it be?
Blanche.
I haven't seen that movie.
No, in the Street Car Names. I'm kidding. That's a really horrible question to ask somebody.
Sorry about that.
This man has 5 minutes to speak.
Sorry, I just thought it'd be an interesting question.
It's a good question.
It's a good question. You want to know too?
Yes.
I would
Tom
play
Holland in the Tom Holland story.
Exactly, good lad, good lad. I would play Edward Norton in Primal Fear.
Wow,
I think that's
bold.
the coolest role ever.
That's possibly one of the best turns and
I
performances
love
you could
that
ever.
movie.
My
So,
God.
I think that's one of my favorite performances
It's
ever.
incredible.
Tom, you said that you went to Bronx High School of Science
I did,
under
yes.
another identity to create your character. How
Yes.
was your experience there?
It was really bizarre because I'd never been to school with girls before. So I enlisted in the Bronx School of Science. I went in undercover, I had a fake name, I had a student ID. My acting coach dropped me off at the school. I went for 3 days and I basically just tried to fit in the school because American high schools are totally different to British schools. And it's not the kind of school you can just go to. Like, all the kids at that school are geniuses, and all of them couldn't figure out why I was there halfway through the term. So I had this whole backstory, how my dad was in the army and we move around a lot and all this sort of stuff. And then they quickly figured out it was absolute nonsense when I couldn't do any of the schoolwork. Like, we were doing calculus stuff that I'd never even heard of before. And the teachers didn't even know that I was not a real student. So one of the teachers asked me to come up and do like a maths thing on the board.
Oh my God.
And it was awful. And then at one point I was sitting next to this girl and she was like, dude, what's your deal? Who are you? And I thought it was an opportunity to have some fun. And I was like, well, the secret is I'm actually Spider-Man. And obviously, none of my Spider-Man stuff had come out yet. So
Yeah.
she was like, you're an idiot. You're crazy. And yeah, it was a really cool experience. And it really did help me, actually. It was really, really helpful into sort of creating Peter Parker.
Jake, is Tom an easygoing co-star? But don't tell me everything was fine.
No.
No? Ah, great. I want that. Why?
Truth. Well, I mean,
I'm amazing.
he's
true.
he's literally got an enormous ego. You can't tell him no. He will just not. He won't.
Don't say it.
He's impolite. He's
Yeah.
generally at least 3 to 4 hours late.
Yeah, on a good day.
He he's just a general bad attitude.
Totally.
Just a bad attitude and
Because I can.
hard to.
The same for you, Tom?
Jake's such a wonderful guy, man.
Oh, great.
He's such a great guy. He's
Easy.
such a pleasure to work with. I've always wanted to work with him, so to get this opportunity was such a sort of dream come true.
I smell something.
And yeah, I mean, it was, you know, they always say don't meet your heroes, but I'm glad I did.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you so much. That was funny.